My name is Sophia Carter. I'm 42 years old. My older sister has a talent for humiliating people in public and calling it honesty. She did it to her cousin when her marriage collapsed. She did it to her uncle when his restaurant failed. And last Saturday, she decided my 17-year-old daughter would be next. We were halfway through dinner at my parents' house when Celeste set her fork down, tilted her head, and smiled like she was about to offer advice instead of draw blood. Let's be honest, she said. Maya's not college material. Her husband, Adrian, nodded immediately, like they had rehearsed the sentence in the car. My daughter stared at her plate. She did not argue. She never does. Maya goes quiet when people hurt her. And Celeste has always mistaken quiet for weakness. Celeste kept going. Some kids just aren't built for academics. No shame in that. Trade schools are great. Not everyone is cut out for real universities. Real universities. That was the phrase that made my hand tighten around my glass. Then Celeste started talking about her daughter, Taylor, SAT prep, since middle school, private admissions consultant, early campus tours, a polished internship lined up through Adrian's cousin at Preston and Dale. Celeste made sure everyone heard how competitive the process was these days. As if Maya had been living under a rock instead of silently surviving every comparison thrown at her, I let Celeste finish. Then I smiled. Strange, I said. Maya already has 3 acceptance letters. Still waiting on yours from 2008. The room snapped silent. Celeste never graduated. She tells people she chose to leave. My parents paid off the loans quietly years ago. Celeste blinked. 3. I nodded and named them. One of them was a school Celeste had once toured and failed to get into. Her smile twitched. But she forced a laugh. Getting in is one thing, she said. Staying in is another. Some girls burn out quickly, especially the quiet ones. Maya shifted beside me. I could feel the embarrassment rolling off her. Not because she doubted herself, but because she hated being turned into evidence at a family table. That was when I stopped playing defense. Without thinking twice, I reached into my bag and pulled out a thin folder. I had promised Maya we would wait to tell everyone. She wanted it low-key. No announcement, no bragging, no spotlight. But Celeste had dragged her into the spotlight anyway. So I slid the folder across the table. Open it. Celeste looked annoyed, but curious. Adrian leaned closer. Inside was not another acceptance letter. It was paperwork from the LLC. Maya had registered 8 months earlier. Celeste frowned. What is this? Her company, I said. Maya looked at me quickly, but I kept my voice calm. She builds custom gaming PCs. She started with one for a friend, then another for a teacher's son. Then referrals. She reinvested every dollar. She learned taxes, warranties, supply chains, and client contracts before she even felt comfortable driving on the freeway. Adrian flipped through the pages. Celeste's smirk disappeared first. Last month, I added, she cleared more than I made at my first full-time job out of college. Celeste tried to recover, so she plays with computers. Cute hobby. Not a hobby, I said. She has 6 pending orders and a wait list. My father leaned forward. A wait list. Maya finally spoke. Her voice, quiet but steady. I don't advertise much. Most of it is referrals. For a moment, nobody knew what to say. Then Celeste made the mistake she always makes when she feels small. She laughed. Let's see how long that lasts. Taylor's already interning at Preston and Dale. Real experience. Real connections. Preston and Dale was where Adrian's cousin worked. Taylor mostly answered phones. I was ready to let it end there. I really was. But Celeste added, girls like Maya need to be realistic. Not everyone is meant to compete at that level. Girls like Maya. Something inside me went still, because what Celeste did not know, what none of them knew, was that the acceptance letters were not the biggest thing Maya had going, and the next family gathering was about to make that very clear. I should have known Celeste would not let it go. 2 days later, she texted me, congrats on the little computer club. Let's see how she handles real pressure. That was Celeste. If she could not win cleanly, she would chip away at the edges. What she did not know was that Maya had been carrying pressure for years, long before the LLC, long before the acceptance letters, long before anyone in our family started noticing her. The next gathering came faster than I expected. My parents hosted a birthday dinner for my father. Just immediate family, my mother had said, which, in our family, still meant 12 people. Too much food, and at least one emotional casualty. Celeste arrived late on purpose. She liked entrances. Taylor walked in behind her, wearing a Preston and Dale polo with the company logo stitched across the chest. Celeste made sure everyone noticed. Internships going great. She announced before sitting down. They're already talking about keeping Taylor long-term. Taylor nodded politely, but barely spoke. She looked tired. I noticed that immediately. Dinner started normally enough. My mother fussed over side dishes. My father complained about his aging desktop computer again. People laughed. Then Celeste steered the conversation exactly where she wanted. So, Maya, she asked sweetly, how's the hobby business? Still building toys? Maya swallowed her food. It's steady. That tight smile appeared again. Steady, doesn't pay tuition at those fancy schools. Before I could answer, my father surprised me. How much did you say she made last month? Maya froze. She hated numbers, conversations, especially in front of family. I squeezed her knee beneath the table. Around 8,000. Fork stopped. My mother blinked. Adrian nearly dropped his glass. Celeste recovered first. Revenue isn't profit. Net, Maya said quietly. The room went still again. I watched Celeste doing calculations in her head. She hated the answer she was reaching. So she pivoted. Well, Taylor's learning corporate structure. Networking. That matters long term. Not assembling gadgets in a bedroom. And then Maya did something I did not expect. She reached down beside her chair. I had not realized she brought her backpack. She pulled out a stack of printed emails. My stomach tightened. She had not shown me these. Maya laid them on the table. An esports training center in Austin. Bulk order. 12 custom high-performance systems. Maintenance contract attached. Projected value over the year. Large enough to make me stare twice. My mother adjusted her glasses. My father leaned forward. Celeste's face slowly lost color. They found me through a college tech forum. Maya said quietly, the meeting is next month. Is this real? Celeste asked. The deposit already cleared. Silence. Heavy silence. Then, something happened. None of us expected. Taylor looked directly at Maya. Wait. Everyone turned. Taylor frowned. Are you the one from that forum? Maya looked surprised. The custom cooling layouts. Maya nodded slowly. Taylor stared at her. I've seen your builds online. The room shifted. I felt it physically, like air pressure changing before a storm. People talk about them. Taylor continued. Some of those setups went viral. Celeste hated that shift. I saw it immediately. So, she tried again. Online hype means nothing. Real companies don't take teenagers seriously. Taylor looked down. Then she said quietly, Preston and Dale's IT department ordered one of her systems last week. The silence this time felt different. Heavier. My father slowly lowered his fork. Adrian turned toward Taylor. Celeste stared. What? Taylor swallowed. They said it outperformed the standard setups. Maya blinked. They didn't know it was mine. Taylor shook her head. No. And I watched my sister realize, in real time, that she had spent weeks mocking someone her daughter's company had quietly paid. She did not have a joke ready. But she was not finished trying to win. She never was. Instead of arguing, Celeste stood up. The entire room went uneasy. Celeste only stands when she intends to control a room. She walked around the table slowly, stopped behind Maya's chair. If this is real, she said softly, prove it. Maya looked up. It's already paid for. Celeste shook her head. Anyone can print emails. Anyone can register an LLC. Andrea no? Not Andrea anymore. Adrian reached toward her arm. She stepped away. If she's such a prodigy. Let's see something live. My stomach dropped. My father frowned. We're at dinner. Exactly. Celeste replied. No preparation. I opened my mouth immediately. Absolutely not. But Maya surprised me again. She stood, calmly. No anger. No trembling. Just calm. She picked up her backpack. Out came a compact toolkit, a flash drive, a small diagnostic device. My father blinked. What is she doing? Maya looked toward the old family desktop sitting in the living room corner, the one my father complained about every month. Slow, freezing, random crashes. Give me 10 minutes. Maya said. Celeste crossed her arms. The room rearranged itself around my daughter. Chairs moved. Conversations died. And for the first time in years, everyone stopped looking at Maya, like she was the quiet child at the table. They looked at her like she might be the smartest person in the room. Maya plugged the diagnostic device into the desktop. The screen filled with black windows and lines of text most of us could not understand. She moved quickly. Not dramatically. Not like someone trying to impress people. Just focused. 3 minutes later she spoke. Your hard drive's failing. My father looked up. The repair shop said it was just old. Maya shook her head. It's not that old. There's also a background process, eating memory. She inserted the flash drive, ran something, then opened the side panel of the desktop with a screwdriver from her kit. Celeste stared. You carry parts around. Sometimes. Maya answered. 10 minutes later, the computer rebooted. It started faster than I had ever seen. My father sat down, clicked programs. Everything opened instantly. No freezing, no log, no waiting. What did you do? He asked. Replaced the drive with a backup SSD I had. Cleaned the processes. There was malware slowing everything down. Malware. Adrian shifted uncomfortably. Celeste stared at the screen like it had betrayed her personally. How much do I owe you? My father asked. Nothing. Taylor spoke quietly. Preston and Dale's system has been glitching for weeks. IT keeps patching it. Celeste said nothing. Maya closed the computer case, packed her tools. Then she said something I still remember word for word. I don't need to prove anything. I just like building things that work. It should have ended there. It almost did. Then Celeste made a phone call. Right there. In my parents' living room, she stepped onto the porch, thinking nobody could hear. But the window was cracked open. I caught fragments. Ask about the girl. No. Verify everything. Background check. I don't care how. Then, dig deeper. When she came back inside, she looked satisfied. Companies, vet vendors. She said casually. If Maya wants serious contracts, people will investigate. Maya looked confused. Investigate what? Celeste smiled. Everything. That was the moment I realized this had stopped being about college. This was about control. And my sister had just started something she did not understand. 3 days later, Maya's contract disappeared. Not cancelled, not attacked, just gone. A polite email. We are reconsidering vendor partnerships at this time. Maya read it twice, then handed me the phone. That's weird. It was more than weird. The deposit had cleared. The meeting had been scheduled. Nothing had changed. Except Celeste's phone call. I did not accuse her. Not yet. I wanted proof. Maya went quiet again. Not defeated. Just silent. That night, she sat at our kitchen table with her laptop open, scrolling, checking messages, reviewing analytics. Then she stopped moving. What? She turned the screen toward me. Someone accessed my business registration records twice yesterday. My stomach dropped. Can you see where? Corporate network. The lookup traced back to a regional provider. Preston and Dale. I felt cold. Maya leaned back. You think Aunt Celeste? I did not answer. I did not need to. The next morning, my father called. Celeste's in a terrible mood. He said, something about procurement issues at Taylor's company. I listened carefully. Apparently, Preston and Dale's IT department had flagged interference. Someone internally had attempted to influence an outside vendor review. Compliance got involved. Compliance. Corporate language for someone made a mistake. And now paperwork is coming. That afternoon, Taylor called Maya directly. Her voice sounded exhausted. I didn't know she'd do that. Maya set up. Do what? Mom contacted procurement. She tried verifying your company herself. My chest tightened. Taylor kept going. She implied your numbers might not be real. Maya said nothing. They opened an audit. Taylor whispered. Then they realized she wasn't authorized to be involved. Silence. She tied it to my department. There it was. Celeste had not only gone after Maya, she had dragged her own daughter into it. That evening, my doorbell rang. Celeste. No warning. New text. She stood on the porch, with tension written all over her face. I opened the door. What did you do? She asked. Interesting question. I was about to ask you the same. She came inside, paced once, twice. I was protecting Taylor. If Maya's business looked fake and it reflected on Taylor, it reflected on Taylor, because you made it reflect on Taylor. She stopped. You don't understand corporate politics. No, I said softly. I understand jealousy. That landed hard, because this had never been about protecting Taylor. It was about preserving a story. Taylor was supposed to be the success, the golden child, the prepared one, the connected one. And then Maya walked into the same arena, with no consultant, no connections, no shortcuts, and won attention anyway. Celeste looked away. I didn't think they'd escalate it. Corporate doesn't like unauthorized interference. She ran a hand through her hair. If I lose credibility over this, you tried to damage a 17-year-old girl's reputation. For the first time since all this started, she had no response. Then my phone buzzed. Email notification. Same esports training center. Subject line. Apologies for the delay. I opened it. They had completed their review. They were increasing the order. Celeste read over my shoulder, and for the first time, she looked afraid. Because the bigger Maya's success became, the smaller her sabotage looked. And this time, there was nowhere left to hide it. The fallout did not explode. It spread quietly, like water moving beneath a floorboard until the damage finally shows. Celeste was not fired, but Preston and Dale removed her from anything involving vendor decisions. Taylor told Maya privately that people inside the company were asking questions, not about Maya, about why Celeste had inserted herself into a contract that had nothing to do with her. The next family dinner felt different. Not warm, not healed, just different. Celeste was quieter. No speeches, no comparison, No carefully disguised insults. Maya mentioned she was looking at leasing a small workspace because orders were stacking up. My father looked impressed. My mother looked emotional. Adrian looked relieved. Celeste tried to sound casual. Business collapses quickly. College still matters. I finally spoke. Stability matters too. Everyone looked at me. Maya built her clients without family connections. Silence. Then I added the part Celeste never talked about. The private consultants. The paid programs. The calls to Adrian's cousin that helped Taylor get the internship. Celeste stiffened. You always talk about outcomes. I said, you never talk about the head start. Taylor surprised everyone. I didn't ask for that. The room went still. Celeste turned slowly toward her daughter. Taylor looked down. I never asked for any of it. No one spoke, because suddenly the conversation was not about Maya anymore. It was about Taylor, about a girl who had spent years carrying expectations she never chose. A week later, Preston and Dale announced a pilot contract with Maya's company. The email went company-wide. It came through it, not through Celeste. She found out with everyone else. 2 days later, she appeared at my house. No smirk, no performance, no superiority, just quiet. And for the first time in years, my sister looked tired. Can we talk? We sat at my kitchen table. Upstairs, Maya was packaging orders. The sound of tape pulling across cardboard drifted through the ceiling. Celeste stared at the table for a long time. Then she spoke. I didn't think it would go this far. It already had. She nodded. Compliance put a note in my file. Her voice dropped. Nothing official. But it's there. She swallowed. Taylor knows why. That was the first time she had said her daughter's name without turning it into an achievement. I wasn't trying to hurt Maya. I looked at her. I just didn't want Taylor falling behind. Behind who? She did not answer. Because there had never been a race, she created one. Upstairs footsteps sounded. Maya came down, carrying a sealed shipping box. She stopped. Aunt Celeste. Celeste stood awkwardly. I saw the company email. Maya said, "Congratulations on surviving the compliance review." A tiny smile. Gentle, not cruel. Celeste lowered her eyes. You earned the contract. The words sounded unfamiliar coming from her. Maya nodded once, then headed back upstairs. After she disappeared, Celeste exhaled. I turned everything into competition. She laughed softly. Even that sounded tired. Even my own daughter. That was the real loss. Not the compliance note. Not the embarrassment. Taylor called me later that week. Her voice sounded lighter. She apologized. For what? For pushing me into someone else's shadow. The next family gathering felt different. Celeste asked Maya about logistics, inventory, shipping timelines, client management. She asked Taylor what she actually wanted to study. And for the first time, she listened, really listened. Here is what I learned through all of this. Jealousy inside a family never stays small. It spreads. It turns dinner tables into battlefields, children into scoreboards, love into competition. It makes adults forget they are supposed to protect, not compare. Celeste nearly damaged her career. She hurt her daughter. She almost destroyed trust inside our family. All because she could not stand watching someone else's child grow without her permission. Maya never needed to prove she was college material. She never needed approval. She only needed room. Room to build. Room to fail. Room to become. Sometimes, the greatest threat to a child's future is not failure. It is the person standing closest to them insisting they stay small.